Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about Elastic Block Storage. What can I tell you? So it provides raw block level storage for an EC2 instance, and it came out. When did it come out? It was came out in Amazon in August 2008. And as of currently, you can use 30 gig of free space is included with the free tier. So what can we tell you about the block storage? So it's not internet accessible. It's not like S3. This is a supporting service to EC2, and so it's not a standalone service. You're not gonna, when you're browsing around the console, you're not gonna go in and find it. It's a persistent file system, so you don't need to worry about the status of your EC2 instance. Uh, Whereas with S3, I believe it's tied to an EC2 instance. That would be tied to an EC2 instance. So if your instance was terminated or down, that storage wouldn't be available. With this, it's persistent, so it's going to be available independent of your EC2 instance. What else can I tell you? It doesn't need to be required like S3. It doesn't need to be. I'm sorry. It doesn't need to be attached like in S3 with EC2. So it's just like a disk that you would add to a virtual machine in your on-prem infrastructure environment. What else can I tell you? So it can also be moved around into other availability zones. Not automatic. It requires manual intervention uh, to make that happen, but it can be done. And it also has snapshots. So just kind of like NetApp, it does. You can take block level snapshots, and when that snapshot's taken, it's just going to capture just the change blocks. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And what else can I tell you? Oh, and you can define by provisioned IOPS. So if you need this disk to provide and deliver specific IOPS for your application, that can be defined and delivered as part of the service. Okay, so let's allocate some storage now. So we're in the console, so we'll go into EC2. Like we said earlier, it's not a standalone service. It's got to be provisioned through EC2 in association with an instance. So we'll go into EC2. So here you can see, we have our usual dashboard. If we had any running volumes here, current EBS volumes, we would go in here and we can see them here. We don't have any. We don't have anything associated right now. We don't have anything happening. We don't have any instances running. So let's go back. Sorry, I'm kind of lost here. So we'll go back to EC2, and we will go to create volume. Let's go to volumes. And yeah, pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to create an EBS volume. So yeah, it says you don't have any EBS volumes in this region. Again, remembering, you're going to note that we're in the Central Canada region right now, and we're going to create this volume. And as you can see, it gives us the option to select the availability zone or the region where we'd like to create this. So let's see here. It does it? I'm not sure. Let's see here. Are there other options here? Central Canada. What does it say here if we pop that up? Okay. So let's so as you can see, you can select the size, the type of disk, the volume type, whether it's general purpose, provisioned IOPS, cold. That's kind of interesting. Magnetic. A few more new options here that I'm not familiar with. We'll get into those later. For our purposes here, because let's still go with provisioned IOPS SSD, and we will. So here, like as discussed, we can define the size and the IOPS required. So let's go 20 gig, and say we wanted 3,000 IOPS. Let me just close my email here. Okay. So yeah. Oh, and it pops up this message. We apparently don't have the required ratio. It needs to be maximum ratio is 50 to 1 is permitted. Okay, so let's check, select 600. Okay, that's an option. So again, availability zone. So I thought the availability zone in which to create the EBS volume, the volume will be available instances of the same availability zone. Okay, that's interesting. So let's come back and look at that later. But so we'll go with the default. So you can select The throughput, oh, that's not applicable to us. If we had a snapshot, we'll go into creating volumes based on snapshots later. But if you select this, you could see all these snapshots. And these are all, I believe, snapshots based on existing um, AMIs. Um, if we had a snapshot in here, we might be able to see it, but not the easiest way to find it. You would have to know the snapshot ID and put it in there to filter. But there's probably an easier way to do that. So if we look at, okay, we could do encryption if we wanted to. We could add tags. Let's just go create volume, and the volume's created. So if we go again, go back into our EC2 dashboard, and here, yeah, you just saw it tick up. We have our new volume created, and there it is. So we've got a volume ID, the size, um, the volume type, it's IOPS, the IOPS we've identified, the date created, the availability zone, the state of it right now. Yeah, okay, all pretty interesting. So we've created it. Let's give it a name. Now, there's a few ways you can do it. You could just click on the pencil icon there and put it in there, or you could select that and okay, so let's see here. The other way you can name it is if we selected selected the option here, the radio button, and then we want tags, and then you go edit, and add a tag. So no, we haven't spoken a lot about tags. There's a variety of tags that you might choose to create for a variety of reasons, maybe billing, maybe to adhere to some kind of a taxonomy. But here, so if we type in name, I'll create the name tag, and then we could create the volume. So I don't know, we'll call it PS3, and we'll save it. And there, it's updated our volume name. Let's play around snapshots. So we've got our volume selected here. We're in volumes under EC2. So let's go into actions, and we can you can see there's some options here. We can modify, you can delete, attach it. If we had an EC2 instance running, we can do that. Right now, we're going to create a snapshot of it. So we can create the name. So we'll call it 10, 27, 17. We could have a description here if we would like. And if we want to, could we select encryption? I'm not really sure. Indicates whether snapshot is encrypted, and it doesn't really give us an option to enable it. Maybe that's dependent on if the volume itself is encrypted. I'm not sure. But we'll create that, and the snapshot's created. So as discussed earlier, we indicated that this isn't going to be visible to you, the snapshot. It's on our storage, but it's not going to be in your S3 bucket. So if you if you went into storage and went to S3, I'd cleaned up everything after the previous. Oh no, I still have a bucket. Okay. So if you went in here into the bucket, you're not going to see the snapshot. Um, it's in S3, but it's just not visible to us. So let's try this. Let's try to create a volume based on this snapshot. So what we'll do is, and we'll show you creating a EBS storage along at the time when you're spinning up your instance. So again, we're back in EC2 here, so we're going to launch an instance. Let's just select anything that's free tier here. Here, let's just do this for purposes. Okay, we'll select this, and yeah, okay. Let's go to the next instance. We'll leave everything default, and we'll go to add storage next. And now let's add a volume. And here you can see we can select EBS as an option. And da, 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 volume type. Da, da, da. So we can check general purpose, provisioned, cold, throughput, optimized, or magnetic. Interesting. So where do we go to do this with a snapshot? Oh, yeah, no, I'm blind. So what you could do here is right here under snapshot, you could then go through your snapshots. And again, these are all based on, um, there's some existing ones based that are just they're available. I'm not entirely sure what all these are, if these are other users. Not entirely sure, but if we search for our snapshot, can we do that? What did we call our snapshot name? We called it 10, 27. Oh, here it is. Interesting. I think this is mine. It says blah for description, which is what I put. So oh, okay. I guess that's maybe our snapshot. So let's do this. So we've added this new volume. It's 8 gig in size. Yeah, okay. So let's just review and launch. Oh, volume size must be at least 20 gigs. Okay, so let's change that. Let's make it 30 gigs and review and launch. And your instance is not eligible for free tier. So always be careful when you're doing this. You might incur some costs. Again, we need to select our key pair. Actually, let's not do that for now, and we'll launch the instance. And okay, we'll view our instance, and it should be spinning up. And hopefully in a moment here, we can go in and I think right now we probably could, while that's working, we can go in and look at our volumes. Yeah, oh, so there's our new volume that we created. Um, yeah, um, yeah, and this is the volume that we created based on the snapshot. Is that it? Let me see here. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, what else did we want to do? Does that cover it? Yeah, that's about covers it. So that's EBS storage. Like we said, it works in conjunction with EC2. It's independent storage, so it's despite like I can do whatever I want. Actually, let's demonstrate this just to confirm. So if I go into my instance and I just spun up this instance and it's up and running, it's actually initializing. Let's actually cancel it. Can we cancel it while it's still initializing? Let me see here. Instances, connect, actions, instance state. Yeah, actually, let's try to terminate it. Warning, blah, 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 blah. Clean up. Warning, an EBS backed instance. The default action is for the root EBS volume to be deleted. Are you sure you want to terminate these instances? Delete EBS volumes. EBS volumes which do not have delete on termination set. Okay, I don't think I set that, so I think it's going to persist. I think if you remember correctly, when we were creating the instance, there was a checkbox at the end where we could have configured this to be terminated. So we should be able to terminate the instance, and our volume should stick around. So let's watch this. Looks like it's shutting down. Okay, so it says the instance is terminated now. I don't know when that actually gets cleaned up. What do you do? Instance settings. I'm not sure. But if we go back into the EC2 dashboard, is our volume still here? I see one less volume. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So it looks like the volume may have gotten cleaned up. Oh, no, 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 no. That's so keeping in mind when we spun up that instance, we had two volumes. We had our EBS volume, which we still see here. That was this one, the 30 gig one we based on the snapshot. Oh yeah, and you can see it indicates the name of the snapshot we based it on. So that's still there and available. Okay. So yeah, that's it. That was AWS Elastic Beanstalk, Elastic Beanstalk, Elastic Base Storage. All right, thanks a lot for watching.